when I was talking to Gerardo about doing this event, I said, I don't speak Spanish. Is that going to be okay? And he said, yes, it's going to be fine. So we're going to be fine, right? Yes? Yes. We're going to work together and do this. So my name is Neha Negandhi, and I am a public speaking coach as well as a TEDx speaker. And I am thrilled to be here with you all today. We are going to be talking about the art of public speaking. And hopefully at the end of our conversation today, you will get to use your voice when you speak to your customers and to your audiences with confidence, with clarity, and most important, with conviction. Right? So that's what we want to gain from our conversation today. And I have invented a methodology that we are going to use to talk about this. And I call it the magnet method. It's the way to get your customers magnetized to what you're saying. And there's 5 steps, 5 techniques and cues that we're going to talk about today. We're going to do some interactive activities around this. You're going to practice this because in order to do it and do this well, what you have to do is practice. Yes? Yes? So we're going to practice that today, and we are going to make sure that when you leave here, that you leave here practicing these techniques. They're easy, you can do it, I promise, but we're going to make sure that you understand how you do it, and we are going to make sure that you understand the importance of how to do this well. Now, all of these methods, all of these steps, the underlying element in it all is storytelling. The way to communicate is through stories. What sticks with you all? What is it, facts? Probably not. What you remember most, what people tell you, what people share with you is through stories. So what would be important, what would be awesome is if you can tell your business story through your own personalized stories. And we're going to talk about how to do that today and how to do it well and how to do it succinctly, right? We don't want to talk about I was born here and then I traveled here and no. We really want to talk about the why of why you opened your business, the why you are running it, and give in some information, some storytelling in that, okay? So we can do all that through these magnet methods that we're going to talk about so we can get your customers magnetized to what you are saying. So let's talk about speaking, right? Speaking is one of our abilities, natural born abilities that most of us are born with, correct? Yes? Yeah? But something happened along the way that in our familiar atmosphere, the orbit of our universe, where our parents, our brothers, sisters, teachers, schoolmates, all of the people that make up your little universe when you were growing up, something happened along the way that shifted that mindset of speaking confidently. Perhaps when you were growing up, you may have heard, don't speak until you're spoken to. Did anybody hear that when they were growing up? Or maybe you heard when you were growing up, actions speak louder than words. Yes? You heard that? Good. In my case, my parents are from India, and they immigrated here. I was born in Chicago, but I come from a very patriarchal family. And my parents said to me when I was growing up, good girls find a corner and are quiet. So that's what I learned when I was growing up, and some of you learned the same. So what I would like to do is for us to shift some of that mindset, some of this fear that we have of public speaking. In fact, 85% of people that live in the United States have a deathly scare of public speaking. And this is evolved through time, right? So we can take this irrational fear, because it is an irrational fear, and let's shift it back. Let's shift it back to what our evolution was. As a being, we learned how to speak. That is what we did to communicate. So let's get back to having our voice be that authentic voice to communicate with our customers and with our audiences. So that's what we're going to be talking about today through these magnet methods. And so I want to talk about, so we talked about 85% of people are afraid to speak. And when we talk about, when we talk about speaking, right, it could be 1 to 1. It could be 1 to 2. It could be 1 to 5, 1 to hundreds. So when we talk about communication and speaking well, what we want to do is connect. We want to connect with our audience. We want to engage them and have them remember what you're saying. The 3 elements of communication, the 3 basic elements are information, which then triggers an emotion, which then converts to action, right? If you have these 3 basic elements in your communication, your words will get the results that you want. Right? That's what we want. We want to achieve that. Your words to get you the measured result that you want. So if you can incorporate information, which then triggers an emotion, and how to do that is a lot through storytelling, which then converts to action, right? 86% of consumers buy their products based on what? Take a guess. Based on what? Emotion, yes, exactly. So you want to be able to get your customer, to get your audiences to feel an emotion about your product or your service. Does that make sense? Are we with me so far? Okay, so that
the emotional connection with the people, no?
Yes, emotions make a deep connection to people. That's how you're memorable, right? Because you made me feel something. So I'll tell you a funny story. So when I have naturally curly hair. You won't know that now because I straightened it today, but I have naturally curly hair. Hello. Hello. And when I was little, my mom, who's a very sweet but very traditional Indian woman, did not know what to do with my wild, crazy, curly hair. So she would put all kinds of oil on my hair and just slather it down because she didn't know what to do with it, right? And she said to me, no one's gonna love a girl that has crazy wild hair. And so I grew up thinking wild, crazy hair means unwanted and unlovable. So I graduated college, came to Atlanta, and got a job. My first job was at Turner Broadcasting in Midtown. And when I got my first paycheck, I booked a salon appointment with one of the nicest salons in Atlanta. And I walked in, and this wonderful hairdresser looked at me and saw my pain. And he introduced me to my hero in life, which is Aveda products. Aveda products have transformed my life because they have put an emotion in me that says I'm beautiful because I use these products, which then converts for me to keep buying the products, right? Do you see how that works? So we gotta get your customers to get an emotion from your product, your company, your service, and all of that comes through you. It comes through you because it comes through your why of why you started your company. And we've got to start talking about it, and we've got to start communicating that really well, okay? So that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to jump right into a little bit about, anybody seen this toy?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So this is called a Chatterbox. It's made by Fisher-Price. So I was born in Chicago, and when I was little, my mom told me this was my favorite toy. I love this toy. I would talk on this toy for hours, storytelling, using my imagination. And so I understood from a very early age that communication was one of my natural gifts. When I was 8 years old, we moved from the bustling city of Chicago to the pastoral greenlands of Charlotte, North Carolina. But not just the city of Charlotte, but the outskirts of Charlotte, where cows were now my neighbors, okay? And at 8 years old, I rode the bus for the first time, because in Chicago, we got to walk to school. And I was so excited to ride the yellow, shiny school bus, because I'd seen it in pictures, and I'd seen it on TV shows, and I was just thrilled to get on the bus. So I had my mom put my hair in pigtails, and I had pink bows in my hair, and I get on the school bus, and I'm just sitting there so excited. And this little boy came up to me, and I'll never forget him, because for me, he represents somebody very significant. And he walked right up to me, because he had never seen anybody that looks like me in his young life. And he said to me, "Do you live in a teepee?" And I didn't know what a TP was. But I said to him, let's draw a picture of it together because we can figure out what it is together. I didn't know what else to say. But at an early age, I understood how to make a connection or relationship between communication and to a connection. So I grew up, Charlotte, I went to college, graduated, and I moved to Atlanta. My first job was at Turner Broadcasting. And from there I moved to Seattle and worked for T-Mobile Corporate in their marketing department. And then I got recruited by Starbucks Corporate doing international marketing for them. All along this, I was always understanding that relationships are formed when you understand communication is connected to connections as well as to community. We have to build community if you want to build and start talking to your audiences and your customers correctly. Through then, I had two children. I have two children. They're 15 and 7. I took some time off, and from then I started writing. So I became a freelance writer, and then I hosted my own radio show. Used to be my own radio show on WMLB, which is 1690 on the dial, along these same topics. And in 2020, I had an opportunity to give a TEDx talk. And as Gerardo mentioned, it is a very arduous process to give a talk on that kind of stage, but it teaches you a lot about communication. And from there, I've been coaching others how to communicate and use your voice in the most authentic method. So let's get into how we're going to do it. And our first method that we're going to do it is through hook. Hook. That is our first magnet method to help you draw your customers to you. And a hook is your opening. It is your opening statement on what you're going to say. Now imagine you have a business. You all have businesses here, right? Yes? Okay. So imagine you have a booth at a fair or at an event, and you have customers coming to you, right? They're going to come to you. It's a very busy environment. What's your opening line to them? What are you saying to them that makes them feel something, right? You want them, because your message to them should make them feel something. So your hook can be a big, bold question, right? Something along the lines of, here, I'll give you an example, and here's one. What would you do if your biggest challenge turned out to be your greatest opportunity, right? So what we want to do is to get people to stop thinking whatever they're thinking mid-thought and focus on what you're saying. Because you want them to be like, oh, what would I do if that happened? What if my biggest challenge turned into my greatest opportunity? Does that make sense? So you want to use an opening, big, bold statement. That's one example of a hook. Another example is an aha statement. An aha statement. Something along the lines of, did you know that 80% of small businesses fail, not because of bad ideas, but because they didn't use storytelling? That's an aha statement. That's going to make somebody stop and say, really? Is that true? You know, and you would have to back it up if it is true, but that's just an example of an aha statement. Another example of a hook is an emotional statement. Something along the lines of, when I launched my business, I was terrified of failing, but the fear of it kept me going. So do you see, when we talk about hook, you have 7 seconds. 7 seconds to capture your customers or your audience's attention. You have to think of yourself as a jet fighter pilot. Have you seen those planes that take off from one of those ships in the middle of the ocean? Have you guys seen that? Those videos? Yeah, right? Okay, so they have these big naval ships that sit out in the middle of the ocean, and they have these jet fighter planes on them. And those planes have 7 seconds to take off. 7 seconds. If they don't, they're going to land in the water, right? We don't want that. We want you to use your 7 seconds that you have to capture your audience's attention with one of these methods that we talked about. We can, like, again, with the question, right? I said normally when I start these presentations, I start with, did you know that 85% of the people that live here are deathly afraid of public speaking? So that's a question that you can formulate. Big, bold statements, aha statements, something to get your audiences to stop and to think. That is what we want, because when we get them to stop and to think, we get them to connect to what you're saying. Now, we want to talk about how to do this physically. How to do it physically, okay? Because we talked about how, the different methods that you can do it with, but how do you do it when you want to deliver it physically, in a physical presence? The one way here is use vocal variety. Use vocal variety. By that I mean, what if I came in and said, well, my name is Neha Negandhi, and I'm a public speaking coach, and I am a TEDx speaker. Would you be captivated by anything I just said? No, right? But what if you said your opening line, your hook, with some vocal inflection? My biggest fear, right, and you pause, was opening this business because I was so scared of it getting the no. But I understood now that getting the no has fueled me to be something great. Right? So use vocal variety to then, what it does, and our brains are programmed to think like this, right? Our brains are programmed to stop when you stop and be like, what's coming next? What's happening? So if you use a little bit of vocal variety in your opening line, it will grab your audience's attention. All right? Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. I want you to think about some of these, because when we start doing our activity, our interactive activity, you're going to have to start thinking about how you're going to use some of these things that we talk about, right? So vocal variety, how do you inject that into the high point of your sentence, and how to bring your audience into what you're saying. Another one is positive body language. No ever talk like this. What does that mean to people when you stand there and you talk to people like this? What happens? What do you think? What's the first thought that comes to your head if you saw me standing like this?
Boring.
Yes, sad, you don't care, I don't really want to be here, I'm just, doing this just because. You have to stand and use positive body language. Your hands should be here, waist level. Thinking about holding a soda can in your hands. Not here, maybe not here, unless you've got something really important that you want to say, that you want to be out here about. But your midpoint is here, right? You kind of want to be right here. You don't want to be taking big steps. A little step sideways is fine. Another little step is sideways, because you want to make sure all of your audience is engaged. But not too much, not backwards. When you go backwards, what does that signal to people? You're hiding, you're running. I don't want to be here, I'm running away from you. Come towards them, right? Always lean forward, always lean forward. Always have your body language open. With your hands, a lot of people ask me about this, a lot of my clients, what do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands. Leave them here, or put them here. When you do this pose right here, this is an open man's thinking pose, right? People, your audience is like, oh, wow, they're thinking. It makes me want to ponder too. So do this, be here, positive, open shoulders, open chest, eyes open, right? When you send that message out to people, they will in turn give that back to you. Does that make sense to you? Yes, see? Yes. All right, so we want to be positive and open, so you receive that in return. Energy works how many ways? Both ways. You got to give it to receive it. All right, so think about this hook. All right, vocal variety. What are the 3 ways we can deliver a good hook? Question, big bold question, right? An aha statement, something that's going to make them think about your business in a new way, or they've never heard of that before. For example, you have a mobile car business, right? Mobile car cleaning business. If you could think of an example or a stat, we are so efficient, and we are so good at what we do. We are able to, I'm making this up, do 100 cars a day. I'm making this up, it's not true, but however, and a customer would be like, really? That's amazing. How do you do that? Okay, so you are grabbing their attention with a fact, with an aha statement. Does that make sense? All right, so this is our activity that I want us to do now. When you're doing a pitch, right? This is what I'm saying. You get 7 seconds to capture the people's audience. 7 seconds. And when you think about, you have to think about it in the frame of it from a lens of what is your customer's pain point. Maybe time it. I would love for you to take 2 minutes to think about what could be a hook. what could be an opening line that you can open your pitch with, you can open a one-on-one exchange with a customer or with an audience, right? So I want you to think about it from the lens about what is your customer's pain point. What is your customer's pain point, and what is it that your company or your business or your service solves? How does it solve that? So write 1 or 2 lines down. It doesn't have to be full lines. It can be first to share that, okay? 1 or 2 lines, your opening hook, addressing your customer's pain points. Are we clear on that? Yes? Okay, and then we love to share. All right, yeah. Yes, we love for you to share. Yeah, tell us your name first.
Voy a hablar en español.
Your business, is the business the YouTube videos? Is that the business part of it?
The foundation.
It's but the foundation is non-profit?
It's non-profit.
It's non-profit. Okay, but you still got to raise funds for it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, so do you have a hook? You have an
Yes.
opening? Okay, let's hear it.
Amparo,
Yeah.
¿vives en este país?
Do you know how many clothes we dispose in this country?
No, I have no
Always.
idea.
Ok. Un americano desecha 87 pounds de ropa por año por cabeza.
An American family, they can like dispose like 87 pounds of clothes that they're never going to use.
Every year?
Every year.
Every year. Okay, that's a lot. So your foundation is going to then, that's
In the
good.
video she said, do you know where your life is going to be when you're dead?
Ah, I do. I like that. That is good. Awesome. All right, tell us your name.
My name is Jurbi.
Jur-
Jurbi Melendez.
okay.
Yes. I'm going to do it in English and Spanish.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. ¿Sabes que el 40% de los pequeños negocios que son demandados tienen que cerrar sus puertas por no tener la cobertura de seguro adecuada? En nuestra agencia te ayudamos a tener protegido tu negocio, tu propiedad y tu salud. Know that 40% of the small business at this country are small business that should have to close their door because they don't have the right coverage in their business. We can help you to protect your business, your family, and your health.
Through
Insurance.
through insurance. Like 40% of businesses are not covered properly with their insurance. Is that
Exactly, and
okay? You can use some of those words that you just mentioned to me in your opening line a little bit. And when we start talking about some of these other methods, we'll get into it a little bit. But I think if you kind of come with it from, I can help your company get the exact custom plan they need for the stuff that you just said, for their blah, 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 whatever the 5 different things you just told me, right?
Okay.
So make it very clear to them what they're going to get and how you're going to make that happen for them,
Okay.
right? I think that's good. And then you can start with, and you do 40% of the businesses and that are currently out there, they don't even have the right insurance out there, and that's where we come in. So go next. Your opening line, yeah? What's your name?
My name is Janet Sellers.
Hello.
So, would you like to have a healthy looking skin? At Janet Skincare, we offer solutions helping you achieve your skincare goals. Like you like to have a hydrating skin, tone, have the glow. We help you to find and get that solution.
Perfect.
Also,
Your product makes people's skin or makes people feel beautiful, right?
Yes, it
Right?
helps to
Confident in their own skin per se, right? So what if like you thought about, and this is just a thought, right? I don't know the parameters of your company, but I just thought about, and could be catchy, but your dead skin cells are now dead to me. What if you opened with that? Because your skincare products are getting help get rid of some, I don't know if this is what they do, but I'm going with it. It helps get rid of some of the dead skin cells, and now you're gonna feel rejuvenated. You're gonna feel, yeah, please. What's your name?
Endrina.
Hi.
Hablo español, muy poquito inglés.
A store.
Sí, ropa y zapatos.
Okay, awesome. And it's a physical store.
Yeah.
Like a brick and mortar store, not an online store.
Yes, yes,
online.
también.
It's online?
Quedó showroom y página
It's
web.
both online and physical.
Ajá.
Okay, awesome. All
Ok,
right. Okay.
entonces en este caso.
Okay. Tell me your hook again. Tell me. Okay, go. Give me your hook.
Okay.
It sounded great to everybody. You know why you integrated? You've integrated vocal variety. Did you guys hear that? You guys heard that? How she delivered that? Because I didn't understand it, but I was very attuned to what I'm very like, what did she say? I really want to know what you said. Because you made everybody get their attention and hold on to it. That's really important. Very well done. Your style speaks for you. I like that. Well done. Well done. Yeah. I really like what your is because you're not really selling shoes. You're really selling a lifestyle. You're really selling the way that it makes somebody feel. And that's really good. Really good. Really well done. Really well done. I really like that. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Wait. Okay. So 7% of, did you say 7% of women have skin issues? 70% of women have skin issues, right? And your your skincare product is an affordable option for them, or no? It's not an affordable option. But but it is an available option, and that you want women to prioritize doing. Yes, right? Because you're like, women should take care of their skin. It's a very important part of you, and it speaks to your confidence and empowers you to do better. Is that good? All right, okay. So why don't you start there, right? Why don't you start there? I think, but for you, you're really all about, and we should focus on the feeling, right? You want to get them to feel something, and you want them to feel what? Confident, empowered, ready to face the world, and beautiful. Yes, absolutely. Yes, right? So how do you do that? How do you get them to feel that? Because they're gonna use your product. So I promise you, if you wake up using my products in the morning, you'll spend the entire day feeling beautiful, nourished, and confident. Like a cover girl. All right? And then you go into blah blah.
That sounds like it's the cover girl.
Exactly, right? It does. You can play off of it. Nobody said you couldn't. You don't own all of those words. But start there, because you want to bring them into the feeling. Like if you came with that, I would be like, I want to feel like that. I want to see what she's got. What is that, right? So start there. Start with that feeling, and then go into my product is, it does this, and my name is. Put your name towards the middle of your pitch, right? And we're going to get there. But I know I ask you your name because I like to know your name. But, start with the hook, go into the benefit, then go into your name. Does that kind of make sense? And then weave in the little bit of your story. We'll get into that in the rest of the techniques. Yeah.
One of the
difference between energy and how to deliver with passion.
Yeah, but for example, if I have a skincare business,
yeah,
and I'm going to be like, I can give you the solution for your beauty, so like this. But what's happening if I can give you some? So it's like, it's going to depends of the type of business that you have, or
it sort of depends more on the audience. If your audience is full of buttoned up investors, maybe you don't want to come. And also I will say, when you talk about energy, I think more is less. I think more is less. I think you need to focus your line on those exact words that have to be energized. Does that make sense? So focus on your pitch and try to rehearse it and put the energy in the words that you want to emphasize. Put the energy in the words that you want to emphasize. When you have a clean car, what does that represent to somebody? When you have a clean car, when you drive around in a clean car, what does that say?
Satisfied.
Yes, satisfied, right? That you're like, I am like driving around in a clean car. I am also a clean person, right? There's a lot of these feelings associated with having a clean car. I will say this, males are much more inclined to have their car clean versus somebody like me. I'm like, whatever. That's just not part of my priority list, right? Skincare is, right? Right? So we have different priorities. So you should put your hook towards what is that feeling that you want your customer to have when they have a clean car. Then you go into the benefits, right? Then you could talk about you have 25 years experience and you come from it's a family-owned business. All of that is great. Okay, so you're taking some of the stress out
Yes.
and say, we will come to you, make it convenient for you, and we will take some of the stress out of your life and then give you a clean car, right? That's the outcome, right? So think about that. I want you to start thinking that we're going to go do a lot of some other activities, but I want you to think about it from that lens. So when you start formulating your lines, your opening lines, your midpoint of your pitch, you want to think about, use some of these words. We make it convenient. We take the stress out of your very busy modern day lives, and we give you the most professional, clean car that you're going to be thrilled to ride around in, right? So you're going to use some of those things when we go through this, but I want you to put that in your brain, like plant it, so we can talk about it more as we go through this, okay? Pastries. Okay, and eat more desserts. That is very true. Yes, that is true. I would eat more chocolate.
Yeah.
That is good.
That's
That's good. You should use this. Hook? Was that your hook? Life is short, eat more desserts? Is that your?
No.
Oh, that's not it.
Her book
Okay,
was
okay.
different.
Okay.
Okay, life is short.
Uh-huh.
Eat dessert first.
Eat dessert first.
Yeah.
Yes.
For tonight.
Aha, I like this. I like your opening line. It's
She said that she created on you an emotion
yes.
and attention.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You did it very well. Very well. All right, guys, we're going to have to move. Let's go to the second. So you guys got hooked? You're feeling good about this. Okay. So on to the second magnet method. It is called heart. All right. This is, I think, the most important method you can get from our time today. How to speak and share your why. What is the why behind you starting your business? And we talked about this. And yes, right? This is why you do what you do. And you must get your customers to understand it. Because when they understand it, they will then engage with you. Have you heard of Tom's Shoes? Have you heard of Tom's Shoes? Yes? Okay, so Blake Mykowski, he's the CEO and founder of Tom's Shoes. He went to Argentina and he saw some children playing and they didn't have shoes on. He's like, we're living in this ultra modern, fabulous, rich, wealthy world, and why are there kids without shoes? So he started a company when his premise is buy one, get one. So if you buy a pair of Tom's shoes, one will be donated to an underprivileged child. Can you understand that emotion that fits? There is no other BOGO offer out there that means more to me than if I buy a pair of shoes, somebody that deserves it gets a pair of shoes. So we want you to use your story, and each of you has a story. Okay? What's a story? Let's talk about this really quickly. What is a story? A story, you have to think about it in a beginning. So a beginning, and a beginning does not mean I was born in. No. A beginning is something that highlighted you to start your business, okay? Then you have to take that, what is the transformation point? What happened so then you were like, I must start this business. There is a need, and I'm going to start this business to lead my customer to an outcome. Does that make sense? So your story has to have a beginning. It has to have a transformation point. And then it leads us to an outcome. And that is in your heart of your pitch, your presentation, your one-on-one interaction with your customers. If you're at the grocery store and your cart is filled with a bunch of groceries, a stranger walks up to you and says, oh, I just love what's in your cart. It looks so beautiful. What are you going to do with all this? Do you have recipes? That is your time to make a pitch to that person. Every interaction you come to, it should be a communication point for you. It doesn't always have to be a pitch to investors. Okay, does that make sense? A pitch is a wonderful way. There are people in a room, but investors are people everywhere. You should be constantly thinking about the why. The why you started your business. That's the heart of everything you do. Everything you've built on is here in the heart of your company. The reason why I started my company, people came up to me and was like, what was the TEDx process like? It was 9 months. 9 months of complete volunteer time for me to learn what I am now going to teach you, right? So after the 9 months, I was like, I'm good, I've delivered, I've given my speech, I have learned everything there is to know. Now I can impart this to others. So that is my why I do what I do. You also have the why. And I want you to get it to the point that you're able to say the why in 1 or 2 lines. Because as we all know, we're very busy, big people. We need conveniences like you offer, but we need to be able to say it in succinctly. What's the why? What's the transformation point? How are you going to take your customer on a journey? And what is the outcome they're going to get? They're going to get more fabulous shoes. So when they walk out of your store or when they receive your shoes in the mailbox, they're going to feel transformed. Okay? Or when they get your skincare products, they put it on, they're going to feel confident and beautiful. Right? We can go on and on. I think the fact that you have a foundation where you're really understanding spirituality and about God and about religion, I think it is so important and so needed right now. I think you could kind of focus in on, we have sort of lost our way. I'm going to help you reconnect back to the one source that we all have to believe in, right? I mean, these are just words that I'm kind of throwing out there because I'm a believer too. I'm a woman of faith, so I completely get it. But what are you going to do with those people that may not always get it? So we need to bring them into the fold using your why. So let's talk about this because we are kind of running out of time. All right, here we go. Carlos Castro, he's the CEO of Todos Supermarket, Todos. Am I saying that right? Todos? Is that Todos? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Todos Supermarket. They're based in Northern Virginia, okay? They don't have any stores here, but they specialize in selling Latin American food, and they make going into their supermarket an experience. They have beautiful Latin wines, they have all the foods, they make it an experience.
Music and salsa.
And music and salsa? Yes, okay, I'm sure they have that too. But here's the thing. So he immigrated to the United States from El Salvador. And he immigrated here because he wanted to escape the country's civil war that was happening. He came here as an immigrant. He built the supermarket from the ground up with nothing. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Does that sound familiar, right? Okay. And now he is a wonderful, a successful entrepreneur. And my thing is, he talks about he's actively involved in the Hispanic community in Northern Virginia, and he takes a big part in that whole process of the whole immigration process. But that's his story. That's his story. That's what he built the supermarket on his own fingers, doing the hard work. And that's what he's known for. So what is your story? What's your height? I mean, Blake, when he started Tom's Shoes, this is because he saw something and he felt was a need to compel to get shoes. I can go on and on. Warby Parker. Have you heard of Warby Parker? They make eyeglasses, right? Warby Parker. So the young man that started Warby Parker, he went to a country, and as a poor college student, he was traveling around. He broke his eyeglasses. He broke them. And as a poor college student, he couldn't afford to get a new pair of glasses. And he's like, why is that? Why is that? I should be able to get a stylized and affordable pair of glasses. And that's why he started Warby Parker. They're also the first in the space to be D2C, direct to consumer. I don't know if you remember people that wore eyeglasses. You had to go into a store, you had to order them, then they would ship it to you, all these different processes. Warby Parker was the first to do from direct to consumer. You can go on their website, order it, and you get your glasses. Okay? So I want you to think about and fast. Okay? What is your story? What's your story? And your story could come from your background. How did you grow up? What was your family life like? Was there a lot of people in your house? Was there little people? Was there song? Was there music? Was there food? What was that feeling like when you were growing up? Because I guarantee you may not, I'm gonna help you connect the dots here. I guarantee that has something to do about the feeling, the vision you have of why you started your company. All right? I want you to think about that. Think about how you grew up. Think about your family life. Think about your life now. What was missing? What are you adding? What are you giving back to the community? All of that is part of your story. Now we have to get that down to a couple of sentences, and we have to put it through your lens of why you started your company. All right. So I want your activity for this is think about the high point, a pivotal moment in your life. You could think about it from your background, you could think it from your family life, and then you are going to come up with a couple of sentences. Now I'm talking about 3 or 4 sentences because we have to be fast about this story and how it integrates to you starting your business. All right? Why it integrates into you starting your business. So 3 to 4 sentences, and we need 2 minutes. 2 minutes.